The confetti had barely settled, the final chords of the victory anthem still echoed across the studio, and fans all over America were still celebrating the explosive finale of The Voice Season 26. Against all odds, Sofronio Vasquez, the quiet, soulful singer from a small town in New Mexico, had just been crowned the champion. He had done it. America had spoken. His voice, raw, heartfelt, and trembling with truth, had carried him to the top. But no one expected what came next. Just 48 hours after the biggest win of his life, Sofronio took to Instagram Live, no filters, no team, just him in a dimly lit room with tear-streaked cheeks, to share news that would break the hearts of millions. The Voice journey. A star is born. Sofronio's journey was one of pure magic. At 27 years old, he wasn't the typical contestant. While others came in polished, with TikTok followings or minor record deals, Sofronio walked onto that stage during blind auditions with nothing but a guitar, a denim jacket with a worn-out patch on the shoulder, and a voice that sounded like it had lived 1,000 lifetimes. He sang Jealous by Labyrinth, and within seconds, all 4 chairs turned. Coach John Legend had tears in his eyes. Reba McEntire clutched her heart. Chance the Rapper stood up and clapped before the last note faded. America fell in love instantly. Week after week, he poured his soul into every performance, whether he was doing stripped-down ballads or reimagining pop songs into acoustic folk renditions. His voice wasn't perfect in the technical sense, but it was true. And in a world of autotune and artificial charm, Sofronio's honesty was like a warm hug. By the finale, he was the frontrunner. But the moment his name was called as the winner, the camera panned to his face, and instead of pure joy, there was something else. A flicker of sadness. The Instagram Live that shook the internet. "I want to thank everyone. From the bottom of my heart," Sofronio said, his voice cracking, eyes red and swollen. More than 2.3 million fans tuned in that night. Winning The Voice. That's something I never thought would happen. Y'all gave me this dream, and I'll never forget it. Then he paused, took a deep breath, and then said the words that froze everyone. But tonight, I want to tell y'all something I didn't have the strength to say on that stage. A long silence. My mom passed away 2 nights before the finale. Chat exploded. No one knew. Not his coaches. Not his team. Not even the show's producers. She's been battling cancer for the past year. Stage 4 lung cancer. She didn't want me to tell anyone because she said this was my dream. That if I told the world, the story would become about her and not about me. Tears flowed freely now. But this was about her. It was always about her. Every song I sang, every moment on that stage, I was singing to her. A mother's final wish. In a pre-recorded backstage segment that never made it to air, Sofronio had spoken briefly about his mom, but kept it light. "She's my best friend," he had said, smiling. "She's why I sing." What the world didn't know was that Sofronio had been flying back and forth between LA and Albuquerque every week, managing rehearsals during the day and sleeping beside his mom's hospice bed at night. His entire voice journey had been a balancing act between pursuing his dream and preparing to say goodbye. "She watched my semi-final performance from the hospital," he said during the live. "She had tubes in her nose and could barely talk, but she held my hand and whispered, 'Finish strong, baby. You were born to sing.' She slipped into a coma the next morning. She passed peacefully in her sleep the night before the finale, just hours before Sofronio walked on stage and delivered what would become the winning performance of Fix You by Coldplay. Fans react with an outpouring of love. Within minutes of the live stream ending, #SofronioStrong and #Voice Finale started trending worldwide. Celebrities, fellow contestants, and Voice alumni flooded his page with support. John Legend commented, "Your mom must be so incredibly proud." Your voice is a gift, and now we know the depth behind it. Stay strong, my brother. Kelly Clarkson tweeted, Sofronio, you broke all our hearts tonight. What grace. What bravery. You're not just a voice winner, you're a warrior. Chance the Rapper posted on Threads, that man walked through fire and still gave us light. Even fans who hadn't watched The Voice were moved. People from around the globe shared their own stories of grief and resilience, turning Sofronio's tragedy into a collective moment of healing. A debut album for her. Though his win came with a recording contract, Sofronio confirmed that he would delay studio work for a few months. I need to grieve. I need to go home. I need to sit with her things, her letters, her voice messages, he said. But he also promised something beautiful. My first album will be for her. Every song, every lyric will carry her heartbeat. Tentatively titled Songs My Mama Heard, the album will feature stripped-down acoustic songs, gospel-inspired melodies, and even a lullaby she used to sing to him when he was a child, reimagined into a full track. The Sofronio Vasquez Foundation. In perhaps the most touching twist, Sofronio announced plans to launch a nonprofit foundation in his mother's name, the Rosa Vasquez Music and Cancer Foundation. The two things she loved most were music and helping others, he said. She always said music could heal anything. I want this foundation to help young people with sick parents continue their dreams without guilt or fear. The foundation will offer scholarships to musicians dealing with family illness, as well as funds for palliative care support, grief counseling, and community choirs in underserved areas. Final words that echo. The live ended quietly. No flashy send-off. No promotional links. Just a boy who loved his mom, now a man holding the weight of loss and love in equal measure. If you have someone you love, Sofronio said, eyes glistening, tell them today. Sing to them today. Don't wait for a stage or a finale or a trophy. Just love them loud. The screen faded to black. Epilogue. Healing and harmony. As weeks passed, Sofronio withdrew from the spotlight. He wasn't chasing magazine covers or red carpets. He was home, healing. But every so often, he'd post snippets, a blurry video of him singing in his childhood bedroom, the wind blowing through the curtains, or a photo of his mom's old record player with the caption, her favorite song today. Fans followed his journey, not just as a singer, but as a human being navigating loss with grace. And when the time came, when he finally dropped the first single off his debut album, it was a quiet release, no big PR push. The song was called Hold My Hand Mama Song. It debuted at #1 on iTunes. In the end, Sofronio Vasquez didn't just win The Voice. He won hearts. He reminded the world that behind every great voice is a story, and behind every story, a soul brave enough to share it.